Hello, and welcome again to another day of classes. Today we're going to be continuing with the rest of a Unit 10 in the Interchange Level 3 book, degree book. Okay, in the previous class we were looking at, discussing important past events, the trends and fads, some quizzes, and we were referring to the time in the past. In this class, we're going to be continuing with this topic, and we're going to be looking at the grammar for predicting the future with will. But before going there, we're going to see some examples of this in this conversation. So pay close attention to this and listen, and then we're gonna go straight to the grammar, okay? Okay, so let's listen.
Page 67. Exercise 9. Conversation. I'll be their first guest. Part A. Listen and practice.
Would you want to spend a vacation in space?
No thanks. I'd rather go to the beach. Would you?
Of course I would. I'd stay longer, too. Do you think we'll have colonies on Mars in 20 or 30 years?
I don't know. Considering how fast we're destroying the Earth, we won't be living here for much longer.
I'm serious. You know, international space agencies are investing a lot of money in research to develop more powerful rockets.
Well, I guess that within 50 years, we'll have set up a research center on Mars, but not a colony.
You're probably right. But I'm sure some company will have built a resort on the moon by then, and I'll be their first guest.
Really, really, really interesting. Now, let's go to the grammar to see how this, comes to be with the same thing. Predicting the future with will. This is what Oscar and Hazel were doing. They were predicting the future, things that in 20, 30, 50 years in the future. So let's see how to do this. Okay. We use will to predict the future events or situations. Future continuous to predict ongoing actions. And future perfect to predict actions that will be completed by a certain time. As always, I have a material for this, so let's go into it in the grammar. Okay, first we have the future continuous tense. It's really easy to make it. In the positive, it's the subject, then will, be, then the verb in ing, the present participle. I will be singing in the concert tomorrow. In the negative is the same, but with not before the verb be. I will not be singing in the concert tomorrow. And for the questions, we have will plus the subject, then plus be plus the verb plus ing. So, will you be singing in the concert tomorrow? Okay, that's basically how you make the future continuous. It's really, really simple. Okay, we have the usage and some examples to that. We use it to describe interrupted actions in the future. For example, when you come tomorrow, they will be playing tennis. Okay, you use it to express actions in progress at a specific time in the future. Okay, at 12 o'clock tomorrow, we will be having lunch at a school. Okay, to refer to actions that are happening now and expected to continue in the future. Unfortunately, sea levels will still be rising in 20 years. Okay, to ask questions politely about the future. Would you be bringing your friend to the party tonight? To emphasis of future plans and intentions. He'll be coming to visit us next week. Okay, to describe atmosphere in the future. When I arrive at the party, everybody will be celebrating. Some will be dancing. To express parallel actions or series of parallel actions in the future. She will be watching TV, and he will be cooking dinner. Okay, so these are lots of different uses for the future continuous, but one of them is to predict ongoing actions. Humans will be living in another planet. We won't be living here. Okay, I read it. Now, future perfect tense. Okay, it's made by using in the positive subject plus will have, then the past participle, and then the rest. He will have done. Will have the past participle. He will have done it by this evening. In the negative, the same, but with not before in the middle of will and have. He will not have done it by this evening. And for the questions is will, then the subject, have, then past participle. Will he have done it by this evening? It's really easy. And what are their uses? And some examples. To talk about an action that will finish before a certain time in the future. This is what we're going to be using it on the grammar for today. Okay? An example. By 8 o'clock tomorrow, I will have taken off for Japan. Okay, another use is to talk about an action that will be completed before another event takes place. An example, she will have learned Chinese before she moves to China. Okay, then the last one, to express conviction that something happened in the near past. The guest will have arrived at the hotel by noon. Okay, so as you see in here, use future perfect to predict actions that will be completed by a certain time. Okay, so this will be finished before this other thing. Within 50 years, we will have set up a research center on Mars. By 2050, a company will have built a resort on the moon. Okay, very good. Okay. In sentences referring to time, the preposition by means not later than. Okay? Don't confuse with by with within, which means sometime during. Use by with points in time. Use within with periods of time, basically. By 2050, this is the point in time, we will have eliminated starvation around the world. Not use within here. Within the next 5 years, people will have invented mobile phones, apps for nearly everything. Okay, so within it's for periods of time, and by is for points of time in time. Okay, very good. Okay, so this is basically the grammar. Use will to predict the future, events, or situations. We will spend vacations in space. We won't have colonies on Mars. Use future continuous to predict ongoing actions. Humans will be living on another planet. We won't be living here. Okay? Use future perfect to predict actions that will be completed by a certain time. Within 50 years, we will have set up a research center on Mars. By 2050, a company will have built a resort on the moon. Okay, well, that's everything on the grammar for today. I hope that you understand it. And if you do, let's do this exercise right here. You're gonna complete these predictions with recorded verb forms. More than one answer is possible, okay? So take your time to complete this and then we'll check, okay? Okay, you finished? Let's check. Okay, sometime in the future, buildings will have green walls and roof gardens to help retain carbon dioxide, like this. Number 2, by the end of this century, half of the Amazon rainforest will have been deforested. Number 3, in 50 years, the world population will reach or will have reached 9 billion. Okay. Number 4, in the future, most of the population will be living or will live in cities. Number 5, soon computers will become more intelligent than humans. Soon? I think this happened already. Okay, very good. Okay, if you have those answers, very good. You're very correct. Okay, now let's do this listening, not in our lifetime. You're gonna listen to people discuss changes that will affect these topics in the future. You're gonna write down 2 changes for each topic. For crime, space travel, environment, energy, and money. Okay? So take your time to listen, complete, and then we're gonna check.
Page 68. Exercise 11. Listening. Not in our lifetime. Part A. Listen to people discuss changes that will affect these topics in the future. Write down 2 changes for each topic. 1. Crime.
Well, I think crime will completely change in the future.
How so?
Nowadays, people use their debit and credit cards more than they use cash. How we spend money is changing. I think there will be less street crime in the future. Crime will become more intelligent and digital. There will be more computer hacker criminals.
That sounds more serious.
I know. Crimes will definitely become more severe. Instead of stealing some cash from my purse, a criminal could go online to my bank account and steal a lot more. It's scary to think about.
2. Space travel.
Do you really think people will live in space in the future? I don't know if I believe that.
Oh, definitely. I think within 100 years, people will be living on other planets.
Really? Like you and I could be living on another planet?
Well, not in our lifetime. But I think within the next 50 years, humans will have traveled to other galaxies.
Yes, I agree with that. And what about extraterrestrial life? Will we have made contact with aliens from other galaxies?
I don't know. But if we do, I sure hope they're friendly.
3. Environment.
Every time I read the newspaper, there's another environmental disaster. Do you think environmental problems will eventually become a thing of the past?
Definitely. There are some amazing ideas to clean up our oceans. I think in the next 20 years, we will have cleaned up all the trash in the oceans.
I sure hope so. Some of those garbage patches in the ocean are larger than some countries.
I know. I read that non-biodegradable trash is the biggest problem in the oceans and on land.
Non-biodegradable trash, like plastic?
Exactly. I think in the next 30 years, we will have eliminated plastic and found materials to use that are better for the environment.
4. Energy.
You know, I was reading this article about energy of the future. Fossil fuels like oil and coal have become our main energy sources.
Yeah, but we need safer energy.
This article says we're making progress with other kinds of energy. It predicts that in 50 years, we will be using only green energy sources, like wind and solar energy.
Wouldn't that be wonderful?
And it said that with electronic devices, we won't have to wait for them to charge. We'll be able to charge our phones or computers in just a few minutes.
5. Money.
With all the technology we use every day, sometimes it feels strange that we're still using paper money that can rip or get damaged.
Yeah, it seems old-fashioned next to credit cards with chips and sensors, doesn't it? It's just a matter of time before paper money isn't made at all anymore.
You think so?
Definitely. No one will use cash, and everyone will have cards.
If that happens, then I think everyone in the world will eventually use the same currency.
So only one currency and no more cash? It sounds a lot easier, but I'm sure there will be new problems too.
Oh, there always are.
Okay, very good. That was a lot of information. Take your time to to it as much times as you need to complete this, and then we check, okay? Okay, you finished? Let's check. Well, for the crime, there will be less street crime, and crime will be more intelligent and digital. There will be more computer hacker criminals. For space travel, people will be living on other planets within 100 years, and a human will have traveled to other galaxies within the next 50 years. Environment. In the next 20 years, we will have cleaned up all the trash in the oceans. And in the next 3 years, we will have eliminated plastic and found better materials. Okay? Number 4, energy. In 50 years, we will be using only green energy sources, like wind and solar energy. We will be able to charge electronics in just a few minutes. That's great. Money. No one will use cash on everyone will have cards. Everyone in the world will use the same currency. That will be great, actually. Very good. Very good. Okay, now let's go to the last thing for the day. That it's gonna be a reading. Looking into the future. Take your time to read this. Okay, let me put it a bit better. There. Looking into the future. Read this. And now, after you finish reading, let's do this last activity. Read the article, then check the prepositions futurists made about the year 2050. Okay? So take your time to complete this, and then we're gonna check. Okay, you finished? Let's check. Okay, so the predictions that were made were 2, 4, and 6. Tiny computers will help people with physical problems. People will be able to explore places without leaving home. and many people will live together in eco-friendly buildings. If you have these answers, very good. You are correct. But okay, that's been everything for today. I hope that you liked the class for today and that you look forward into the next unit, Unit 11. Okay, it's going to be called Rites of Passages. Really interesting. Okay, so I hope that you look forward for that. Well, that's been everything for today. So see you in the next time. Bye.